Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. Last Tuesday night, I came home from work carrying the same leather briefcase I'd used for 5 years. When I opened the door, Jenny was standing in the living room with a suitcase at her feet. Her coat was draped over the armrest like she'd rehearsed the scene. "Connor," she said, not even offering a hello. "We can't keep doing this. You've become predictable. Everything about our lives is just routine. I can't breathe in this." I set the briefcase down and looked at her. "So, this is how it is? You're packed before we even talk?" She shifted, avoiding my eyes. "I need something different. I need someone who makes me feel alive, someone who actually takes chances." I walked past her and sat on the couch. "That line sounds like you lifted it straight out of a paperback," I said. "So, who is he?" Her jaw tightened. "This isn't about another man." "Then why's your phone lighting up with a rideshare notification right now?" I nodded at the screen buzzing. "Seems like perfect timing." Her face went red. "Connor, don't twist this. We've grown apart. You spend your life buried in work, paying bills, and sitting in front of the TV. I can't waste my years like this." I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. "You want excitement? Fine. But don't pretend this is self-discovery. You've already chosen your next chapter." She grabbed the suitcase handle. "I'm done explaining. You'll never understand." "You're right," I said, standing. "I don't understand abandoning a marriage like it's last season's fashion. But I do understand contracts. Tomorrow morning, I'll call Claudia Varela. She'll have papers drawn up." Her eyes widened. "You're not even going to fight for us?" I actually laughed. "Fight for what, Jenny? A woman who's halfway out the door? That would be pathetic." The door shut behind her. The next morning, I was at my desk before sunrise with a notebook and a black pen. No pacing the floor, no whiskey in hand, just a list. Step 1, separate bank accounts. Step 2, freeze joint credit cards. Step 3, lawyer. By 9:30, I'd already called the bank, canceled every shared card, and moved my salary into a new account. At 10, I left Claudia Varela a voicemail. She called me back within 30 minutes. "Connor," she said, voice sharp and efficient, "I'll draft the separation documents today. She'll sign them fast if she's as ready to leave as you say. I'll need your asset list before noon." "You'll have it in 30 minutes," I replied. I had already scanned every record, savings, retirement accounts, even the lease paperwork. At 11, I called Silvio Marquez, the landlord. "I'm breaking the lease early," I told him. "That's going to cost you a penalty," he said. "I'll pay it. Just tell me when I can be out." "Next week if you want." "Surprising to hear from you, Connor. You always paid on the dot." "Still will," I said. "Just at a different address." By noon, movers were scheduled for Friday. I'd found a 2-bedroom house 10 minutes from my office. The rent was lower than what Jenny and I had been paying for the apartment she insisted was perfectly central. At lunch, I received a text from Jenny. "I hope we can talk soon. This isn't easy for me either." I read it once and deleted it. There wasn't anything left to talk about. That night, I packed deliberately. Half the closet was already empty, but that just made things easier. Clothes in boxes, books stacked by the door, files labeled. No hesitation, no looking back. By the time I zipped the last bag, the apartment already looked less like a home and more like a temporary stop. Which is exactly what it was now. A week later, I was unlocking the door to my new place. For the first time in years, every item inside those walls belonged to me alone. The next morning, I left the house at 7 and parked at my office 10 minutes later. No 40-minute drive across the city. No detours to pick up some package Jenny urgently needed. Just a direct route, quiet streets, and an empty parking lot. At work, my manager noticed the change. I was early, focused, and sharper than I'd been in months. The move was already paying off. That evening, I got a call from Victor about a late pickup game. I hadn't played in weeks, but this time there were no excuses or obligations. I showed up. We played until 10. No distractions, no tension, just movement, noise, and space to breathe. Back at the house, I set up a soundbar I'd ordered. One click, no permission needed. The bass filled the living room. Jenny used to complain about unnecessary expenses. That night, it sounded like freedom. Lying in bed, I realized something she'd never admit. What she called boring was just peace. And peace, it turned out, wasn't dull at all. It didn't take long for whispers to reach me. A coworker, Maria, who handled client accounts, leaned across my desk one afternoon. "Connor, I saw Jenny last weekend. She was with some guy. Tall, slick haircut, expensive watch. Looked like a movie character. You know anything about him?" I shook my head. Not my concern. But later that evening, Victor filled me in. Name's Darren Holt. Calls himself an entrepreneur. Word is he's pitching some health tech app that doesn't even exist yet. Lives off credit lines and charm. I wasn't surprised. Jenny always wanted flash over substance. 2 days later, Silvio Marquez, the landlord, left me a voicemail. "Your wife came by asking if you'd left a forwarding address." I told her no, figured you'd want to know. That confirmed it. She hadn't just moved on, she was already sniffing around for a way back into my orbit. The next week, I got an email alert. An attempt had been made to add my name as guarantor on a retail account. Denied instantly, because I'd frozen my credit the morning after she left. I forwarded the notification straight to Claudia Varela. She called back within the hour. "Good thing you listened to me, Connor. Paper trail like this is valuable. Keep every notice, every log. If she or anyone linked to her tries to involve you financially, we'll have proof you secured yourself early." Thanks, Claudia. I figured it was only a matter of time. That night, I sat in my living room and thought about how predictable all of this was. Jenny had walked away, claiming I was too boring, too safe. Yet within 3 weeks, she was tied to a man who couldn't keep his own name clean on paper. Boring wasn't the insult she thought it was. Boring was protection. And right then, it was the only thing keeping me free. It was a Thursday afternoon when Jenny showed up at my office building. I was stepping into the lobby, coffee in hand, when I heard my name. "Connor." She stood near the reception desk, hair styled, heels clicking against the marble, but her eyes were restless. I walked past her without stopping. "You shouldn't be here." "Don't do that," she said, trailing behind me. "You're punishing me, and it isn't fair. I just need a small favor. A signature. Darren's got a deal lined up, and if you just—" I turned on my heel. "A signature? You mean like the one someone tried adding to a store account with my name attached? The one that got blocked because I already froze my credit?" Her face went pale. "That wasn't me. Darren he needed a little help getting things moving. You're acting like I'm the enemy. You left with a suitcase and a speech, Jenny. Enemy isn't the word I'd use, but don't confuse me for your safety net." Her voice dropped to a pleading tone. "Connor, you're being cold. After everything we had—" I cut her off. "What we had ended when you traded stability for fireworks. You wanted excitement, now you've got it. Don't ask me to co-sign the fallout." 2 security guards had drifted closer, keeping a respectful distance. Jenny glanced at them and then back at me. "So that's it? You're really just walking away from me like I'm nothing?" I took a step toward the elevator. "You made that decision, not me." The doors opened, and as I stepped inside, I added, "If you show up here again, security won't be the ones asking you to leave. I will." That night, I joined a group dinner with colleagues. Across the table, Camila Duarte from operations laughed at a story someone told. When she caught my eye, she smiled. Simple, genuine, no drama in it. And I realized how good that felt. By the 4th week, Darren Holt's shine had worn off. Word spread fast in circles that thrived on gossip. Victor called me one night after practice. "You'll want to hear this." Darren's wellness app pitch collapsed. Investors pulled out. He's skipped town, left Jenny holding bills she can't cover. I wasn't shocked. Jenny always confused flash with value. The very next evening, a text slipped through from an unknown number. "Connor, it's me. Please, I need to talk. Everything's fallen apart. Darren left, and I'm in serious trouble. Just one conversation." I stared at it for a long moment before deleting it. But she didn't stop. Different numbers, same tone, urgent, desperate, begging for a meeting. Finally, I agreed, but only in a public setting. A cafe, midday. Claudia Varela knew where I'd be and had advised me to record the encounter. Jenny walked in late, sunglasses hiding tired eyes. Her once perfect composure was cracked. She sat down across from me, voice trembling. "I made mistakes. I thought Darren had something real. He drained my savings, sold my car, and maxed out credit cards. I can't even pay rent. Connor, we need to revisit the settlement. I signed too quickly. I wasn't thinking straight. I kept my hands folded on the table. No mistake was made. You signed because you were sure. What you're asking for now is a second chance to undo consequences. That isn't happening. Her voice rose. You're really this heartless? After 5 years of marriage, you won't even help me get back on my feet? I leaned forward slightly. I'll give you one thing, a non-contact agreement. You sign it, and you stop dragging me into your chaos. That's the only paper I'll ever put in front of you again. She froze, then pushed back from the table. You'll regret this. I stood as well. No, Jenny. Regret belongs to you. For once, I didn't feel like the boring one. I felt like the one who had seen the storm coming and built higher ground. A week after that cafe meeting, Claudia called me from her office. She tried filing a complaint through a mediator, Claudia said flatly. Claimed the separation was rushed, that she deserves more. But we've already submitted timestamps. Your account freezes, the credit alerts, her texts about signatures. It's airtight. The mediator dropped it before it even started. Good, I said. I don't want her circling around my life again. That night, as I was unpacking a bookshelf in the living room, my phone lit up with the doorbell camera. Jenny was on the porch. Hair messy, jacket wrinkled, eyes red like she hadn't slept. It didn't take me long to figure out how she'd found me. She must have tailed me from the office. Predictable, invasive, and desperate. She started knocking, then pounding. I opened the door just enough for the camera to catch her face. You're trespassing. Leave now. Connor, please, she begged. I have nowhere else to go. Darren vanished. I'm broke, living out of a friend's car. You're the only person I have left. I kept my voice steady. You had me. You decided I wasn't enough. That's a choice. Choices have weight. Her hands shook. I thought I wanted adventure. I thought I needed someone different. I was wrong. I need stability. I need you. I almost laughed. Stability? The same thing you mocked as boring? You're not asking for me, Jenny. You're asking for a bailout. I won't give you one. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Connor, can't we at least talk about being friends? I stepped outside, making sure the camera recorded everything. Friends don't file fake claims. Friends don't try to sign your name on debt. And friends don't call you boring, then crawl back when their gamble explodes. She stared at me, waiting for some crack of sympathy. Instead, I gave her the only line she'd remember. Welcome to the wife regret statistics, Jenny. You just became another number. Her shoulders slumped like the words had knocked the air out of her. She turned, walked down the steps, and disappeared into the night. After that night, the calls and knocks stopped. Claudia confirmed a week later that Jenny had signed the non-contact agreement, probably realizing it was the only thing keeping her from a restraining order. The settlement gave her what she asked for, freedom. No alimony, no assets, just a signature and silence. Life went quiet again, and quiet was exactly what I wanted. At work, Harold Benton stopped me in the hall. Connor, whatever changes you've made, keep them. Numbers are up, clients are happy. You're sharper than I've seen in years. 2 nights after that, I had dinner with Camila Duarte. Nothing dramatic, no rushing into declarations, just good food and conversation that didn't circle back to money problems or imagined slights. She laughed easily, and when she asked about my new house, she didn't sound like she was calculating what it cost. When I drove her home, she said, Connor, you don't strike me as boring at all. You strike me as someone who knows where he's going. I smiled at that. Funny, I've been called the opposite. A month ago, Jenny had walked out, accusing me of being too predictable, too dull. 1 month later, she'd shown up broken, begging, a living example of the very statistics I'd read about late at night after she left. Regret wasn't mine to carry. It belonged to her, and her alone. Inside, the house was clean, quiet, and mine. No drama, no noise, no endless demands. Just peace. I poured a glass of wine, turned on the sound system, and sat back in the chair by the window. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had to justify who I was. Boring? Maybe. But it had kept me standing while her so-called excitement had burned everything to the ground. And that, I realized, was the best ending I could have asked for. Thank you for watching.